Hello everybody, welcome to the channel again. I had a lot of messages and mails and people contacting me about some of the previous videos, and there's also always a lot of questions going on, especially from newer people that start braiding rawhide, like on fits. And fits is a real important thing in my book. I know lots of people that have just one fit. I'm a geek, I know that, and I can totally nerd out over a good fit. But anyway, I think there's different fits, different tools for different purposes. And I decided to go with the 7 ones that I could not live without for any particular reason. So, let me start by saying that I got a couple of fits here, like these two. They were made by Jeff Miner. I got this one from Johnny Beard. Oh, this is also a Jeff Miner. These two are made by Len Yule. And I got this one from Steve Derricott. So, why couldn't I live without them? Let's start with this one. If you have a long button and you have trouble keeping that button straight up and down, like for example on a rein, I can go with this and go in between, and there's several videos on the channel where you see me using a tool like this in whatever way. But for all the tools that I've used to do that, this one is by far the best to straighten out a long button. Well, even a shorter button, if you're in the beginning of your rawhide journey and you're having trouble keeping your buttons straight, straighten them out before you do an interweave and use a tool like this or another, but this one works for me by far the best. If I'm working with heavier string, I use this one a lot. Like I said, I got this as a present from my friend Johnny Beard, and it's got a little beef to it. So it's really good to work with a wider button string, let's say for a nose button or a quirt handle or anything where you want a little bit more integrity in that part of the piece you're making. I like to work this. It's got a slight curve on it. I like a slight curve, but I don't mind if a fit is straight. So, this one, as you can see, it's got a really big taper. It goes from almost nothing to pretty damn wide. Why is this an important fit for me? Because if I go in a braid, in a body, and I want to anchor a button, so I go underneath the braid and push another string through. This one is, I can push it as deep as I need to and open up that braid so I can get a string through it to make a, like say a multiple string ring knot to anchor down another button. Now, this one I use a lot, and especially if I have string that's a little finer, I use this one. What I like about this one that Len made for me is it's got that little curve again, which I kind of like. I don't know why. But it also has a taper here. So if I push it in this wide, it's a different width for the string than when I push it all the way to down here. And I want to get my fit size as close to my string size as possible, because if your fit is way wider than your your string is, it's going to push your braid off and it's going to not look very good. I got several of these that Jeff Miner makes in several sizes. I got one that's smaller than this one. I got one that's bigger than this one. And these are absolutely, for finer work, my favorite fits. Until I got a present from my good friend Clint Heverty. And he gave me this fit as a present. And at first I thought, a novelty. Well, guess what? It's not a novelty. It just works really well. Especially if you're more in like an under 3 over 3 sequence, or maybe even an under 4 over 4 sequence. With that little curvature here, it makes it so much easier to go underneath those strings without hurting the other strings. And then I got one more that Len made for me, and you'll see he's got that little curve up here. Well, a lot of times, and especially if you're working with a heavier string, again, let's say a quirt handle or a Boselle nose piece, and for me, I am totally in favor of having a decent sized string, both in thickness and in width, for a tool that you're going to use on a horse, and where basically you're going to depend your life on. Because if some of that breaks, and there you are, you can have a bad wreck, or your horse can get away, and you're looking at a long walk home. Anyway, what this does is, if I'm near the end of a button and I'm having trouble getting under the strings because that button is tightening up so bad, I can lay it in there like, let's say these are the 2 strings. I can lay it in there like this, push, and then turn and go under. The only fit I can do that with is this one. And you know, like, especially when your button is getting a little tight, you may end up with hurting your string to get another string underneath it. Not with this puppy. It works like magic. So, my 7 all-time favorite fits that I can't live without. If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'm getting really used to some people getting back at me with questions and all. And you don't have to do it over Messenger or on my phone. You can do it on here in the comments down below. And other people can enjoy the conversation too. Thank you. See you next time.